All right. What could be the cause of neglecting our own well-being? Ooh, that's a loaded question. I'll give a good stab at that one. Okay. I know what I feel is the right thing to do, but I feel so much resistance to any practice, yes, that can help me. This is actually really important what Miroslav is talking about, okay, because this is what impacts most of humanity, okay? Right here, what he's talking about. Why do I neglect my well-being? Why don't I take good care of myself? Why is it so hard to do things that are good for me? Okay. And there's a few tiers to this. Okay. One is ancestral trauma. Okay. We've inherited the unresolved issues of our ancestors, of our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents. So if they've ever felt like giving up in life, if they ever actually experienced trauma, which all of us have, because there have been world wars, right, guys? Lot of battles, a lot of traumatic stuff. If they've been in any of that, that resulted in trauma, soul loss, really deep-seated conclusions and beliefs about it not being safe, about, you know what I mean? Life has to be hard, all this stuff. And if we haven't spent time to help them release that energy in the spirit planes, or even, in their own dying process, we are left with the momentum of that unresolved energy. So what I'm saying here is that there's a really strong current that on a subconscious level that's working against you doing something good for yourself, you liberating yourself, because there's all these subconscious beliefs, there's collective grid programming, there's cultural grid programming. I mean, all the current, there's lots of things that go into this current. So if you make a practice to, say prayers for your ancestors, sing love songs to your ancestors, like really make that point to connect and love with your ancestors. No, you can go back many generations, right? Hundreds of years. That will help them wake up and participate in supporting you. So that's the one thing, the ancestral piece. The other thing is that we are born into a system that trains us to give our life force energy away. And any value system that we have that goes against that means that we're selfish, you know what I mean? There's a whole list of things that come with taking good care of yourself. Okay. It's like, it's kind of like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in class and someone gets an A in the paper, and a lot of people in the class kind of like dog on them and tease them and rip on them because they call them a goody two shoes or whatever. Okay, that's a subconscious death program inside of people. They don't want other people to do well. We're trained naturally. Our true nature wants others to do well, because if others do well, that means we're going to do well, right? We're going to feed the momentum within each other. But the matrix stuff is backwards. It reverses all of that. So there's guilt and shame about feeling good. There's guilt and shame about being successful. Okay, so there's that piece, and then there's the even deeper piece, which is not being able to open ourselves to love. Okay, not being able to open ourselves to love. So that means being loved by Creator, by Pachamama, by the cosmos, but it also means to be loving. Okay, giving of ourselves in a loving way. When we're able to give ourselves in a very loving way, that benefits us and the people around us. And I don't mean to the point where you're taxing yourself. I'm talking about in a healthy way. For example, when I'm feeling very loving, I am super uplifted and I'm loving with everybody around me, and I'm just fed because the aperture is open. I have that, my energy feels very strong. So I'm drinking from this overflowing cup, and I have plenty to share with others. Okay. So those are just a few pieces that to speak to what you're talking about, darling. Oh, there's one more piece I need to put in. Sorry. 4 pieces. Entities. Humans would be shocked to find out just how many entities we have in our bodies. And what's significant about that is that all the thoughts and feelings of these entities are in our head, like they're our thoughts and feelings. And a lot of times, the reason why those entities are there is because of wounding. Sometimes it's because they're afraid they're going to get judged or sent to hell, so they don't go into the light. Other times they're full of vengeance or something, and they're not ready to leave yet. So they find a frequency match in the nearest human and they step in. So all this unresolved conflict and chaos that entity has is now inside of your own head and emotional field. Then you also have entities that travel with families through many generations. So we have a lot of, because the frequencies are lifting in the way that they are, the octaves are changing, we have a lot of entities coming to the surface. So something that I've started doing recently is that when I sit and I breathe and I be with myself, I call the emissaries of the light to be here with me and to reach into my body and make contact with the different entities that are revealing. I had a lot of wounded children because there was a part of me that, I want to give children a safe place. So there was a part of me on a subconscious level that was like pinging, like a beacon, and all the young ones that were scared and afraid and you know what I mean, weren't able to go into the light. They were all coming to me. They're all coming and taking up residence inside my energy field because I had such a strong desire to keep the children safe. Okay. Just an example of how those types come in. So there's lots of ways they come in. Sometimes it's our own relatives. We were young, psychically open, and they didn't want to leave us. They wanted to keep us safe. They felt bad leaving us, something like this. And then they just came right in. Stuff like that happens.